It is Wednesday, the 18th of September, 2024. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Today, we are once again talking about the magnetic fields. Remember them? I did a whole week of their songs from 69 Love Songs, and today is no exception. I'm talking about the 8th track on the first disc of 69 Love Songs, which is called The Luckiest Guy on the Lower East Side. This has become something of a favorite from the album for a lot of people. I think maybe because it's referenced in a few things. It's referenced in the book Wonder. It's Augie's favorite song, and there's like a bit with him dancing with his dad to it. I don't know if it's in the movie because I haven't seen the movie, but that scene certainly leapt out to me from the book because I was like, I know that song. Yeah, so a lot of people know this song. I think it's quite deserving of the praise it gets, which is, obviously I like the song if I'm talking about it here. I don't know if I need to give it much setup because I've already talked extensively about the magnetic fields and the concept of the 69 Love Songs album. So I think we can just go right into it. Let's listen to it now and then come back in a few minutes and talk about it. There it is, The Luckiest Guy on the Lower East Side. That song gets stuck in my head so much. Of all the songs from this album, this is one of the ones that enters my head a lot, just because it's so catchy. The, I got wheels and you want to go for a ride. But also just the... It's just a really catchy tune, I mentioned that this song is in Wonder. I think, I couldn't find the passage at a quick notice, but I believe there's a passage that references, like, the kind of sound that sounds like splish-splashing in the background. I never really paid much attention to it until I read the book, and I was like, oh, that is like that. I was like... This is a weirdly orchestrated song, but I really like it. I don't know what instrument it is. It's saying that do-do-do-do-do-do. Probably some sort of synthesizer or something. And of course it's got the ukulele at the center of it because it is a magnetic field song. Lyrically, obviously the song is about someone who does not think that they're particularly attractive, but they are able to attract this particular person because they have a car. And that's a hot commodity in the Lower East Side. Genius tells me that the Lower East Side of New York has like extensive public transport, so having a car is kind of a luxury. And so someone having their own car is kind of like, it would help them stand out in the Lower East Side, right? One thing I really like about the lyrics of this song, I've talked before about how I love specificity. This song lists so many names of people, and they're just like common guy names, but I still like how it works, especially because they all rhyme. I mean, that's why they're all there, right? But yeah, Andy would bicycle across town in the rain to bring you candy, and John would buy the gown for you to wear to the prom with Tom the astronomer who'd name a star for you. But I'm the luckiest guy on the Lower East Side because I've got wheels and you want to go for a ride. So he's talking about all of these other people trying to win this person's affection. Andy would bicycle across town in the rain, which is like, so, it's showing commitment. Like, oh, he would put his life at risk. He would go out in the cold, wet rain on a bike, no less, just to bring you sweets, right? It's showing commitment there, John would buy the gown for you to wear to the prom, giving you expensive gifts. And then Tom the astronomer who'd name a star for you. It's the escalation, right? Candy is like something you can live without. And then the gown to wear to the prom was like, oh, it's a special event. And then, name a star for you. Like, it's this escalation of the size of the gesture, you know what I mean? And also the fact that John would buy the gown to wear to the prom with Tom, not even for wearing to the prom with himself. And then, yeah, I'm the luckiest guy on the Lower East Side because I've got wheels and you want to go for a ride. He's saying all these guys don't matter because I have a car, and that's what's important. What I think is interesting here as well is that a lot of the imagery it uses is very young, very teenage. Candy, the prom, these are very teenage things for an American song. And so having it be about like having a car, I know they can drive at 16 in America for some goddamn reason, but it just makes it feel like this weird mix of adult and child themes. And I'll get into that further when we go further into the song, but I just wanted to point it out there. So the next thing we get is, Harry is the one I think you'll marry, but it's Chris that you kissed after school. Well, I'm a fool, there's no doubt, but when the sun comes out, and only when the sun comes out, I'm the luckiest guy on the Lower East Side because I've got wheels and you want to go for a ride. So I do enjoy, again, rhyming Harry with marry, Chris with kissed, I like how he even says, like, Harry's the one I think you'll marry is implying like there's a romantic connection with these two. It's Chris that you kiss after school, maybe a more fleeting infatuation, sexual attraction there. I'm a fool, there's no doubt. Kind of saying like, there's no hope for me, I know that, but when the sun comes out, this is good weather. You want to go for a ride. And again, you've got school being, of course, another teenage theme here. But then, the one you'll marry is an adult thing, but it smacks of teenagers speculating about who they'll marry, And then we get the bridge. The day is beautiful, and so are you. My car is ugly, but then I'm ugly too. I know you'd never give me a second glance, but when the weather's nice, all the other guys don't stand a chance. So the first two lines here are like an inversion of Dear Prudence by the Beatles. The sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you, dear Prudence. So instead he's saying here, the day is beautiful, and so are you. But my car is ugly, and I'm ugly too, It's a funny inversion of that. You'd never give me a second glance, but when the weather's nice, all the other guys don't stand a chance. So again, he's affirming that's like, on my looks alone, you would never care about me, but the weather's nice and I have a car. And then we get the third verse. I know Professor Bloomin' makes you feel like a woman, but when the wind is in your hair, you laugh like a little girl. So you share secrets with Lou, but we've got secrets too. Well, one, I only keep this heap for you. 'Cause I'm the ugliest guy on the Lower East Side, but I've got wheels and you want to go for a ride. 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 So Professor Bloomin', I always thought was such a strangely specific thing to say here, because it's all specific names, but professor is interesting. And Blumen is not a name I'm familiar with, although I know the word from German. But Genius says it could be a reference to Dr. Jean Lippmann Blumen, who was an expert on gender roles, so, they would know what it's like to feel like a woman. And this, again, is what I was talking about combining the adult and teenage side of things. Professor Blumen. Professor is an adult title. But then, when the wind is in your hair, you laugh like a little girl. And so it kind of gives this whole song this kind of duality of talking about adult things in kind of a silly teenage way, and talking about how he's kind of saying, like, all these other guys are too adult for you, and I just want to revel in the joy of youth. I want to drive my car around with you on a sunny day and have fun. When the wind is in your hair, you'll laugh like a little girl. Like it's kind of this sweet idea of contrasting the adult and teenage life and saying, let's live like we're young while we're still young, which I think is a generous reading of it, but I quite like it. I know these songs tend to be quite cynical, but I think that's nice, because a lot of the comments on Genius are like, oh, this is about being okay with being used. It's like, yes, it is, but you can read more into it than just that. And then, we've got secrets too. I only keep this heap for you. The only reason I have this car is for you in the first place, And then I love how it ends with the escalating, want to go for a ride, want to go for a ride, want to go for a ride, want to go for a ride. It gets higher and higher and higher. I can do that if I'm ready for it, but I so often start in the wrong register and I'm like, oh, I'm going too high already. That final, high note, he holds it for like 16 seconds. It's crazy. I just love the way it builds up and gets higher and higher. It's great. And it really feels like the kind of fun, kind of demonstrating itself, like, wanna go for a ride. Like, you can imagine him saying this, the window's down, the wind is blowing through their hair, I think it's a nice little thing there. I should say the behind the scenes thing that I forgot to say. This song is sung by Dudley Clute, who is one of the many singers on the album. I don't think we talked about any Dudley Clute the last time I talked about these guys. So here you go. Here's a Dudley Clute song. According to the 33 and a third book, the lyrical style was kind of based on poets like Lewis Warsh and Ron Paget, who did a lot of poetry where they refer to people by first name, as though the reader or listener were already fully conversant with their lives, which is an interesting thing about this, that names all these people by first name when they're not famous people. It's just by first name, as if you know all these people are, but you don't need to know who all these people are. You get the impression from it of who the people are, because that's the whole point of the song. I really like this song. I don't know what else to really say about it. It's fun. It's fun to sing along to. I guess stuck in my head a lot. The melody and the lyrics. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for listening. Please hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell other people about this show. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
I don't know if I need to give it much setup, because I've already talked extensively about the magnetic fields and the concept. And then the Gander Word of the Prom, I was like, oh, it's a special event. It's a special event. Shut up. He also holds that note at the end for like 16 seconds. It's crazy. The final, wanna go for a ride. It's higher than that, I think. Wanna go for a ride.